Transformers Legacy figures have been sighted in stores. I even have one of them myself. So that means the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy has come to a close. The past 3 years of Transformers figures have been really good for us. So we go back to rankings today, specifically Transformers rankings. I haven't done one in a long while, but it feels right to be doing one now. So without further ado, let's hop into my top 15. It's 10, 15? Top 15 War for Cybertron Trilogy figures. Hello everyone, my name is Deceptibot9. Thank you all for joining me here on my channel. If you like what you see, go ahead and give me a like. If you want to see more of it, go ahead, subscribe as well. It's free, it doesn't hurt. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more of it, I make videos over on TikTok and I post photos and whatnot over on Instagram as well. So let me explain how we're going to do this. So top 15, I've chosen my top 5 from each section of the trilogy. And so we're going to do, it's, top 5 from each trilogy, all kind of packed together in a top 15. So I'm going to do it number by number. So for example, we'll do the number 5 from each part of the trilogy, and then we'll move on and we'll do the number 4 for each trilogy. Hopefully that makes sense and it's a little cohesive. So with all that said, and without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the ranking. All right, I'm going to cover my honorable mentions for Siege before we hop into the number 5. All right, so my 3 honorable mentions for Transformers Siege are Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Barricade. These are all awesome figures. They just, the other ones that are on the top 5 are so incredible. And like in instance of Prime, as much as I love this version of Prime, he has been a little outshined by the Earthrise version, but I still think this representation of Optimus is really good. Megatron is a whole lot of fun, and I love that we get a Barricade in Generation style. All right, my number 5 for Siege is going to be Sideswipe. One of the first figures I got from Siege, and it's the first non-movie version of Sideswipe that I got into my collection. I don't know how that happened, but I really love the Sideswipe figure and the Sideswipe mold overall. I just really like the way it looks. I really like the color scheme of it. The transformation is a blast, and robot mode and the Cybertronian alternate mode look great as well. All right, so that takes us to Earthrise. So I'm going to hit the honorable mentions for Earthrise. So my 3 honorable mentions for Earthrise are Titan class Scorponok, Deluxe class Alicon, and Voyager class Starscream. Again, these are all fantastic figures. I love getting a figure of Alicon for the first time. Scorponok as well is my first true Titan class figure, and he does not disappoint. He's absolutely amazing. He's a lot of fun. He's really big as well. And Starscream is a great update to the Classics mold at an upscale. He is a whole lot of fun. But my number 5 for Earthrise is Cliff Jumper. This is going to be a controversial pick. I love the Cliff Jumper mold. I have almost every single version of it. There's only like 2 that I haven't grabbed yet. I love the Cliff Jumper mold. I think this is a great Generations update for Cliff Jumper. I love that he's not just directly replicating a Toon style or a original G1 toy style. He's kind of an update, doing his own thing, which I really like. And I just think the transformation is a total blast. All right, that moves us into Kingdom. And these honorable mentions, I think any one of these could have been in the number 5 spot. But my 3 honorable mentions for Kingdom are Waspinator, Blaster, and Warpath. These are all awesome figures. I love this. I love the update to Warpath. Blaster is right here on my shelf. He is so cool. He is so fun. I love his transformation and everything. But it was kind of hard to place him because I can't tell if he was supposed to be a Kingdom figure that got repacked into Legacy, or if he was a Legacy figure that they brought forward into Kingdom. So I had a little bit of qualms with that. And Waspinator is a whole lot of fun. I love the Waspinator figure. But those are all the honorable mentions. Number 5 in Kingdom is Tigatron. This guy is so cool. I loved the Cheetor mold, but getting a bigger and better version of the Cheetor mold was just absolutely incredible. The transformation on this guy is super, super neat. I love the Tiger mode. I love the Robot mode. He is a whole lot of fun. All right, number 4, we're hopping into the number 4. Number 4 for Siege is Siege Soundwave. Now, I know lots of people want, or think that the Earthrise, the Netflix version, is better, and I might tend to agree. I love that he is a little more of a classics Soundwave, but I love the Siege version of Soundwave. I think he's a whole lot of fun. I actually like his vehicle mode as well as some sort of transportation aircraft, something that would be carrying a lot of something, because he carries the tapes inside his chest, right? So he's some sort of transportation luggage carriage vehicle, and I think that's neat. Plus, they were able to hide in his Cybertronian lamppost mode, which is super, super fun to have on a shelf as well. All right, my number 4 for Earthrise is Wheeljack. Wheeljack, one of my favorite Autobots, and I loved getting this update to him. I think he's a lot of fun. I know there are some people that have complaints about the proportions and everything of this Wheeljack, but I think he's a total blast. I love the way he looks in robot mode. I love the transformation. I love the way he looks in his alt mode. I think overall, Wheeljack is really, really cool. All right, my number 4 for Kingdom is Cyclonus. He's somewhere in this little spot. How could he not be in the top 5? Cyclonus is so amazing. His transformation is absolutely incredible. The way they're able to hide that nose cone in his robot mode and just manage to make a super nice and big looking vehicle mode and kind of shrink it down and just convert it into that robot mode could have gone poorly in so many ways, but they were able to nail it, and it's so, so awesome. All right, into the number 3s. Number 3 for Siege is Astrotrain. Like I was saying with Cyclonus, there's so many ways that this figure could have gone wrong with the triple changing transformation, but they were able to mask all of that so, so well, and we get what is 3 really great modes. It's oftentimes one of the modes severely lacks compared to the other 2 when it comes to triple changes, but I feel like in Astrotrain's case, all of them are great. The robot mode is fantastic. Could it be a little bit bigger? Sure, but I am willing to sacrifice a little bit of size for the complexity that it took to get this transformation to work. If I had to give a weakest mode, I would probably say it's the Space Shuttle mode, but I think Space Shuttle mode looks fantastic, and I think Train mode looks fantastic, plus the little extra accessories we get with him are just incredible. Number 3 for Earthrise is going to be the Quintesson Judge. You can see him peeking up from my Pit of Judgment set right there. I know he doesn't necessarily have a transformation and an alt mode, but come on, it's so cool to get a figure of the Quintesson Judge. It was a figure that hasn't been made at all before, and I absolutely love that we got one. He comes with a spinning gimmick, and sure, transformation is just flipping the faces up. I don't care. I love that we get to have a Quintesson Judge in our collection piece now. I think it's really cool. All right, number 3 for Kingdom has to go to Dinobot. This guy is so, so great. I love what they were able to do with Dinobot. I love the way the Velociraptor mode looks. The robot mode looks so, so perfect in terms of how he's supposed to look compared to the show model, and it's a great modern update. Transformation is really awesome. It does great things with how to get the dino head actually how it's the real dino head on the chest, but they're able to fake the expansion part of it with parts of the legs. I think it's really, really neat, and it is one of my favorite figures from the whole trilogy. All right, coming in at number 2 for Siege is Commander Class Jetfire. I love this guy. This is a fantastic entry into the new command. I mean, it started the Commander Class line. I think it's so awesome. This Jetfire he's so big and he's so intimidating in both modes. I really, really like it. I love the addition of the armor pieces to be able to switch between having a little bit more cartoon aesthetic or a little bit more toy aesthetic. I love when Jetfire figures are able to pull that off. The Thrilling 31 did it really well, and I think the Siege one does it just as well. I think it set a great standard for what Commander Class should be. All right, and my number 2 for Earthrise is that guy right there, Optimus Prime. Easily one of the best figures that has come out of the entire War for Cybertron trilogy. It is probably the best modern G1 version of Optimus Prime. He's phenomenal, right? Like, he looks great in robot mode, he looks great in truck mode, and transformation is a hell of a blast. Even if it is, it takes the basic G1 Prime things, but it takes them and it modernizes them and it complexes them a little bit. That makes that transformation really fun and really engaging every single time you do it. All right, my number 2 for Kingdom is that purple guy right there, Galvatron. After the disastrous Titans Return Galvatron, we were wondering when we were going to get another Galvatron and if it was going to be a good Galvatron. And this Galvatron right here does not disappoint. I love this guy. His robot mode is fantastic. His cannon mode is great as well. And transformation is unique for a Galvatron. It's really, really awesome. It's overall, like I was saying with these other ones, one of the best figures from this whole trilogy. Okay, and that takes us to our number 1s for each trilogy. Number 1 for Siege. This might be a little bit of a controversial pick, but it is the Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime. I have done a review of this guy over on my channel. It's a little bit in my older style. I've evolved a little bit since making that video, but it sums up my thoughts on that figure really, really well. As a kid who grew up with Transformer Cybertron, getting to see Cybertron get some representation in the modern lines is something that I had been longing for a while, and Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime does not disappoint in that regard. I think he is a fantastic update, even if he is a little inaccurate in certain modes. I love that the representation is getting out there and pushing for a little bit more, getting a little bit more of the non-G1 stuff into these toy lines. All right, my number 1 for Earthrise is Skylinks. Now, I did a review of the Commander class figures, again, a while back, and I think my thoughts have evolved since then. I did put Rodimus Prime, he's up here, above Skylinks, and I think that's a little unfair. There might have still been a little bit of recency bias for Rodimus in that video. I love the Commander class Rodimus, don't get me wrong, but Skylinks is so unique, and he's really, really cool and fun, that he ended up just being my favorite of Earthrise, even over Optimus Prime. Number 1 for Kingdom is Beast Megatron. My favorite interpretation of Megatron is the Beast Wars Megatron, and I was so stoked that they were going to be making a Beast Megatron figure, and oh my gosh, he does not disappoint at all. I love the robot mode. I think it looks great. Transformation is incredible. It takes that old Beast Megatron formula and updates it, modernizes it, complexes it enough to make it really fun and really engaging every time you do it. And that T-Rex mode is just something else. All the articulation they were able to pack in, all the detail they were able to pack in. I love the rubber skin over the plastic to give it a little bit more of an animalistic feel. I really wish some of the other figures had been able to pull that off, that same aesthetic, because it really makes Beast Megatron stand out and makes him very unique. All right, we have gotten to the end of the top 15 of the War for Cybertron trilogy. Now, you may notice that Unicron wasn't on this list, and I should have said this up top, but it didn't feel fair to put Unicron anywhere on this list. He's obviously a part of the War for Cybertron trilogy, but he doesn't fall into any single one of the components, the pieces of the trilogy, and he was his own unique thing that it didn't feel right putting him anywhere. He's obviously one of my favorite figures that we got in the War for Cybertron trilogy timeline. I didn't put any exclusives on this list because not everybody was able to get a chance at exclusives, and the ones like the Netflix ones weren't technically parts of certain, they were and they weren't certain parts of the toy line, right? Like Bumblebee and Soundwave are both fantastic figures, but are they necessarily Earthrise? They're not marketed as such, but they were associated with the Earthrise cartoon toy line kind of by being Netflix exclusives. I didn't feel like putting any exclusives on this list, but yeah, Unicron has his own dedicated video coming soon, I promise. I think I finally figured out a way to do it, so there's that. With all that said, go ahead and let me know down below what your favorite figures from the War for Cybertron trilogy were, and are you looking forward to the future of the toy line. Personally, I'm super stoked for Legacy. I'm excited to see what they do and what they come out with. So, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for watching all the way to the end. As usual, I have been Deceptibot9, and I'll see y'all later.